Welcome to Tomorrow Unveiled. Have you ever really stopped to think about how much our understanding of aging is, well, changing?
It really is shifting dramatically.
Yeah, we're not just talking about adding more years to life anymore, are we?
No, not at all. The focus now is adding life to those years.
Right, unlocking a future with, vitality, sharp minds, capable bodies, things that might defy what we always thought was inevitable about getting older.
Exactly. Peak health for longer.
So today we're diving into the Immortality update this week in longevity sciences. Our mission really is to unpack the most significant breakthroughs our research team has been tracking. And there's this fundamental shift happening.
There really is. It's moving away from just extending lifespan, that number, towards enhancing health span.
Or even functional immortality, as some are starting to call it.
That's the term, yeah. The core idea, and it's a big one, is that aging itself might be much more programmable than we ever imagined.
Programmable. That's a powerful word.
Mhm.
And joining me to guide us through this fascinating journey into the latest science is our expert.
It's great to be here. It genuinely is an exhilarating time in this field.
Mhm.
Like you said, this isn't just about preventing diseases anymore, though that's still crucial, of course.
Right.
It's more about actively gaining some level of control over the aging process itself.
Control.
And the discoveries, they really reinforce this idea that aging is surprisingly malleable. It seems to be governed by these biological circuits.
Circuits we can tweak.
Circuits we're learning to manipulate, yeah, with increasing precision. So today, we'll look at some remarkable human examples that really challenge our assumptions.
Okay.
Then we'll get into some groundbreaking animal studies showing new ways, new levers to regulate longevity.
New livers. Interesting.
And finally, the advanced technologies making it all possible. And of course, we have to touch on the ethical side too.
Absolutely. Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with the human side. You mentioned remarkable examples. Our research team highlighted this phenomenon that seems to redefine normal aging. SuperAgers, right?
Them SuperAgers. These are folks 80 years old and up.
80 plus.
But their memory, their cognitive function, it's on par with people decades younger.
Wow. Decades. So they're living proof, essentially.
Exactly. A validated biological blueprint for successful cognitive aging. They show us what's possible.
So what is it? What makes them so special biologically? What did the research find?
Well, what's really fascinating here are the specific differences scientists see in their brains. For one, they show this remarkable resistance to age-related cortical thinning.
Thinning. You mean the brain actually shrinking less?
Precisely. The outer layer, the cortex, holds up much better against aging. And there's more. Their brains often have a thicker anterior cingulate cortex.
Okay, what does that part do?
It's a key region for high-level stuff, complex decisions, attention, regulating emotions, kind of like the brain's command center.
So a stronger command center. Makes sense.
And then down at the cellular level, studies show they have a higher density of these specialized neurons, von Economo neurons.
Von Economo. Never heard of them.
They're thought to be involved in things like rapid social intuition, quick judgments. It suggests, a unique neural setup supporting their resilience.
Okay, so structural differences, specific neurons. But you mentioned something really groundbreaking, dual mechanisms.
Yes. This is where it gets really interesting. Two main patterns emerged. Some SuperAger brains, they just don't have much of the typical Alzheimer's pathology, amyloid plaques, the tau tangles.
They just avoid it.
They demonstrate true resistance. It's like the pathology never really takes hold.
Okay, that's amazing in itself. But the other mechanism...
Even more astonishing, arguably, other SuperAgers, their brains do show significant pathology, plaques, tangles, the works.
But they're okay cognitively.
Exactly. They remain cognitively unimpaired. Their brains are functionally resilient.
Wait, so they have the hallmarks of Alzheimer's, but not the symptoms?
That's what the research suggests. Their brains somehow cope with it, work around it, tolerate it.
That changes everything, doesn't it? It implies the pathology isn't the whole story.
It absolutely challenges that direct causal link we often assumed was absolute. If you can have the pathology without the decline.
Then maybe there are protective factors we can boost in everyone.
Precisely. It points towards these incredibly powerful protective mechanisms. Innate resilience.
So the therapeutic strategy could shift. Instead of just trying to stop the plaques, maybe we focus on making brains tougher, more resilient.
That's exactly the implication. Promoting the brain's innate capacity to tolerate pathology, to function well despite it. A huge pivot.
Okay, that human resilience angle is powerful, but now you said we're moving beyond just observing. towards actively inducing longevity.
Yes, this is where it gets really interesting experimentally. We're talking about controlling the pace of aging in model organisms.
Like the torpor-like state, or TLS, that our research team flagged, in mice.
Exactly. This involves inducing a profound but controllable drop in their core body temperature and metabolic rate.
Like a mini hibernation.
Sort of, yeah. And the effects observed on aging markers in these studies are, well, they're dramatic.
How dramatic? What's the key finding?
The really critical finding is this. The anti-aging effect seems to be primarily driven by the decrease in core body temperature itself.
Not just because they're eating less or their metabolism slowed down.
Those factors might play a role, but the temperature drop seems to be the main driver, according to the research we reviewed. This wasn't just about slowing down, it was the coolness.
Wow. So temperature as a master switch for aging.
It kind of elevates thermoregulation to that level, yeah. A master regulatory pathway, which, opens up completely new ideas, like thermomimetic interventions.
Drugs or therapies that mimic the effects of lower temperature without actually freezing us.
Potentially, yes. That's the direction it points. And building on this idea of environmental control, consider the diapause effect found in jewel wasps.
Diapause, like a pause in development.
Exactly. In these wasps, environmental cues, things like cold and darkness during their early larval stage, trigger this hibernation-like state.
Okay.
And it doesn't just pause them, it leads to dramatically extended adult lifespans. We're talking a 36% increase reported in some studies.
36% longer life just from a cold nap as a larva.
And get this, a 29% slower epigenetic clock, too. Their biological aging rate is fundamentally altered.
That's mind-boggling. So like a childhood experience can reprogram your entire lifespan.
It really sounds like that, doesn't it? It shows us that aging isn't just fixed. It's a developmentally plastic trait.
Plastic meaning changeable.
Changeable based on early life signals, yeah. These signals seem to reprogram aging pathways, things like the insulin and mTOR pathways we know are involved in lifespan.
So nature has these hidden knobs and dials for aging.
It certainly seems that way. And it shows how profoundly environment can interact with our biology to shape aging.
Okay, so temperature, developmental cues. What other levers are emerging? The research team mentioned quite a few promising areas.
Absolutely. Beyond these sort of paradigm shifts, there's steady progress on other fronts. Repurposed drugs, for instance.
Like rapamycin?
Rapamycin is a big one, yeah. Known for effects on immune function, inflammation, autophagy, clearing out cellular junk, showing real promise in aging models.
And senolytics. Those are the ones that clear out zombie cells, right?
That's right, senescent cells. They accumulate with age and cause problems. Senolytics target and eliminate them, another very active area. Then there are things like GLP-1 agonists.
Like semaglutide, Wegovy, Ozempic.
Those types of drugs, yes. Originally for diabetes and weight loss, but now showing clinical evidence, even in humans, for potentially slowing down aspects of molecular aging.
Interesting. And what about lifestyle? Does good old-fashioned exercise still count?
Oh, absolutely. Don't discount the basics.
Yeah.
Structured exercise is consistently confirmed by multiple studies to measurably slow epigenetic aging across various organs. It works.
Good to know. And lithium, I saw a note about that for Alzheimer's.
Yes, some early but intriguing findings suggesting lithium might have potential for actual reversal of some Alzheimer's-related changes, pointing towards functional recovery, not just prevention. Still early days, but promising.
So many different angles. It's really accelerating. Okay, a quick pause here. If you're finding this exploration insightful, please take a moment to like this video if you're on YouTube, subscribe to Tomorrow Unveiled, and definitely turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the future. And if you happen to be listening on a podcast service like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd be incredibly grateful if you could leave us a rating and review for Tomorrow Unveiled. It really does help new listeners find us.
All right, so we've talked about SuperAger resilience, temperature control, developmental programming. But how are scientists actually seeing all this? Measuring it. You mentioned epigenetic clocks earlier. Our research team really emphasized their importance. How exactly are they changing the game?
They are absolutely revolutionary tools, these epigenetic clocks. Fundamentally, they're looking at patterns of DNA methylation, chemical tags on your DNA that change with age. Okay, methylation, tags on DNA.
Right. And these patterns turn out to be a remarkably accurate measure of your biological age, often distinct from your chronological age.
So how old your body acts, not just how many birthdays you had.
Exactly. And the revolutionary part, they give us a quantitative measure.
Yay.
A number. And it's dynamic. You can measure it repeatedly.
Ah, so you can test an intervention, a drug, a diet, whatever, and see if it actually slows down or reverses that biological clock age.
Precisely. Instead of waiting years,
Yeah.
decades even, to see if people live longer in a clinical trial.
You can get an indication much faster, in months.
Potentially, yes. It dramatically accelerates the R&D cycle. It
Yeah.
allows us to test more ideas faster and see what's actually moving the needle on biological aging. It's a huge accelerator.
Makes sense. And what about AI? Artificial intelligence must be playing a role here too.
Oh, immensely. AI and deep learning are transforming this field just like so many others. We're seeing AI used for drug discovery, finding new potential anti-aging compounds, or identifying new targets much more efficiently.
Sifting through massive amounts of data.
Exactly. And developing multimodal AI models. These can take in diverse data types, imaging, genetics, clinical notes to predict disease pathologies like spotting early signs of Alzheimer's.
Which could streamline clinical trials, maybe? Make them more targeted?
That's the hope. Making trials faster, cheaper, more likely to succeed by selecting the right patients or measuring outcomes more effectively.
And you also mentioned proteomics, mapping proteins.
Right, large-scale proteomic atlases.
Yeah.
Think of them as incredibly detailed maps of all the proteins circulating in your blood or specific tissues. Advanced tech lets us generate these maps and see how protein levels change with age. And what's fascinating, they're revealing these sharp accelerations of aging in specific organs around midlife, like the aorta, the big artery from your heart, showing a jump in aging markers around age 50 in some data sets.
Wow, specific aging hotspots in the body.
Yeah, which gives us really specific molecular targets.
Hmm.
Maybe we don't need a whole body intervention. Maybe we can target the aging process in specific vulnerable organs.
And one more, technology organoids. Miniature organs.
The organoid revolution, yeah.
Yeah.
These are tiny, self-organizing 3D structures grown from stem cells that mimic the function of actual human organs, little organs in a dish.
So you can test drugs on a mini liver or mini brain.
Exactly. You can model human aging in these systems and do high-throughput screening, testing thousands of potential longevity compounds quickly and relatively cheaply.
And maybe even personalize it someday. Test on my mini organ.
That's the long-term vision, yes. Testing therapies on organoids derived from your own cells before you ever take a drug. Personalized aging medicine.
Incredible potential. Okay, let's bring this back down to earth a bit. Powerful discoveries always raise big questions, right? What are the ethical hurdles, the practical challenges here?
Absolutely crucial to consider. The potential is immense, but so are the challenges. Take something like induced human torpor.
Yeah, that sounds pretty extreme.
It is. The physiological risks are huge. We don't fully understand the long-term consequences of significantly lowering body temperature and metabolism for extended periods. And there are philosophical questions, too, about identity, consciousness.
Right. And even for less extreme things, like repurposing drugs like rapamycin or semaglutide for anti-aging in healthy people.
Big questions there, too. These are powerful drugs with potential side effects. Using them off-label purely for longevity in otherwise healthy individuals requires really careful consideration of the risk-benefit balance. We need more long-term data.
And then there's the access issue, the longevity divide.
A very real concern. Will these advanced health span technologies become luxuries only for the wealthy? That could massively exacerbate existing health disparities.
We kind of see hints of that already with some high-cost clinics and treatments.
Exactly. The struggles of some consumer longevity applications highlight this challenge. Ensuring equitable access is a major societal hurdle we need to address proactively.
And how does this change how we even think about aging if we can treat normal decline?
That's another profound point. If interventions successfully medicalize what we currently consider normal, age-related decline wrinkles, slower thinking, frailty, how does that impact healthcare systems, insurance, societal expectations?
Does normal aging become a treatable condition?
Potentially. It forces us to redefine health and disease at older ages, which is why, as our research team stressed, critical thinking and responsible communication about early-stage findings are so important. We need realistic optimism.
Okay. So, pulling it all together after this deep dive, what's the main takeaway message?
It feels like the pursuit of, well, functional immortality or at least dramatically extended health span
Yeah.
is really picking up steam.
It absolutely is. The core message is that aging is proving far more programmable than we thought. That's the underlying theme.
And we're seeing progress on multiple fronts, understanding human resilience like in SuperAgers,
Discovering these new biological levers like temperature and developmental cues.
and harnessing incredible technologies like epigenetic clocks, AI, organoids.
Exactly. It's a convergence of understanding and capability. So, looking ahead, what's next? What does the future strategy look like based on these findings?
Well, synthesizing these discoveries points towards a few key directions for the next wave. We can definitely anticipate more work on developing pharmacological mimetics, those compounds we talked about.
Right, mimicking protective states safely.
Yes, things that could maybe safely lower core body temp slightly or transiently activate protective pathways without the risks of extreme interventions. And also targeting those resilience-enhancing pathways we see in SuperAgers.
Trying to bottle that SuperAger magic.
In a way, yes. Finding ways to boost the brain's and other tissues' innate ability to withstand stress and damage.
And you mentioned combination therapies.
That seems inevitable. Since aging is complex, hitting it from multiple angles simultaneously, maybe combining a senolytic with something that boosts resilience, for example, will likely be more effective. Proactively targeting the underlying processes.
So the ultimate goal isn't necessarily living forever in a sci-fi sense.
Not really, no. The realistic and arguably more valuable goal is the compression of morbidity.
Meaning, less time being sick at the end of life.
Exactly. Squeezing that period of illness and disability into a much shorter time, while radically extending the period of healthy, active, capable life, the health span.
Living healthier, more capable lives for much, much longer.
That's the vision. More vibrant, engaged lives.
It's a compelling vision, and it makes you think. Consider for a moment how these developments might ripple outwards, not just changing individual lives, but maybe fundamentally reshaping society's expectations of aging itself. What possibilities open up if most of our lives are lived in peak health, with sharp minds? What does that future look like? We genuinely love hearing your thoughts on this. Whether you're on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the Immortality update and what this kind of future could mean for you, for all of us. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise today.
My pleasure. It's an exciting field to discuss.
Thank you for joining us on Tomorrow Unveiled. We'll see you next time as we continue to explore the future today.